Hello and welcome back to the Snowflake Unofficial News Podcast. I'm your host, Augusto Rosa from Archetype Consulting. The innovation engine at Snowflake never stops running. We got a packed list of new features and updates that rolled out recently, touching almost every corner of the data cloud. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dive into what was new in April 2025. All right, let's jump right back in. We'll try to group this logically, starting with some core platform enhancements and new capabilities. Is all about Python and Python developers using Snowpark. The artifact repository for Python is now available. This is huge. It means you can directly pull packages from PyPy within your Snowpark Python UDF and store procedures. No more complex manual dependencies for many common packages. A big win for productivity, I think. Next, we have a really interesting preview feature, the file data type. This is a new unstructured data type, lets you easily create references to files stored internally and externally stages directly within your tables. Think about the possibilities for multi-model analysis, especially when combined with Cortex AI functions like complete. You can now seamlessly link images and documents anywhere in your code and structure data for richer insights. It is in preview, but definitely one to watch. In the performance front, search optimization has been enhanced to improve queries to use scalar functions in equality predictors. Remember, a scalar function returns only one value. Now think of this, how you might be able to speed up your scalar function significantly. For data providers, the Snowflake egress cost optimizer is now in GA. You are sharing data or Snowflake native apps across multiple regions. The feature designed to minimize those potential FT egress costs, it helps reduce your cost of services and ultimately it maximizes your ROI. It's a very practical and welcome addition. Bridging the gap between business intelligence and data platform is now have semantic views in preview. This allows you to store your semantic models, the business logic layer, defining metrics and dimensions directly in Snowflake objects. These views can then be used by tools like Cortex Analyst, streamline how AI understands your business context. Sharing within an organization also gets an upgrade with an enhanced organization listing discovery and access. Listing creators now have finer controls over which account and roles within their own company can discover and access these internal listings. For those integrating with version control, Snowflake now supports public custom Git repositories URL in GA. So your company hosts your own public Git server. You now point Snowflake directly at it for things like native app development and CI/CD. And before we move on, a couple more little things. A maximum size limit for database objects like varchar variant array object increased to 128 megs. Binary and geometry and geography up to 64. There's a lot more room for your data. New parameters. Default null order ing lets you control whether null sorts first or last by default. You can save some order by and nulls by clauses. There's now a GA support for allowing requests to all outbound endpoints from functions and procedures routing external access. More flexibility for you. Snowflake scripting store procedures can now have an out argument, allowing them to return more values more easily to the calling program. And finally, there's an improved error messages for DML commands will now often include the column name involved in the error. Thank you, Snowflake. And also a new data sketch underscore HLL function for approximate distant counts and built-in code profile for Python store procedures, which pinpoint performance bottlenecks. Oh, and the query accelerator service QAS has expanded what query types it covers. A lot of refinement happening under the hood. Now let's start talk about AI, an area Snowflake is heavily investing in with Cortex, ML, and Document AI. It is a significant preview feature that just came out, the AI observability in Snowflake Cortex. This aim to make AI applications more visibly, more trustworthy and transparent. You can measure AI performance, evaluate results, refine configurations, and log traces for debugging. It's crucial to make your product in production. Cortex Complete function gets a major boost with structure outputs in GA. You can specify a JSON schema and the LLM output will conform to it. It's fantastic for extracting structured data from text reliably. To make prompting easier, let's talk about the new prompt helper function in preview. It simplifies creating and managing template strings for Cortex functions. The big one, Snowflake AI Complete, is now supports multi-model input. This allows you to process and analyze images alongside tests with powerful vision models, all through simple SQL. You can point it to image in Snowflake stages without complex pipelines. Alongside this, Mistral AI multimodal model Pixar Large is now in GA, bringing advanced vision and language capabilities. The embedded function for creating text embeddings is also available in the REST API, enabling programmatic embedding generation outside of SQL. For specific tasks, Cortex AI now has a state-of-the-art entity sentiment function in preview, giving you not just the overall sentiment, but granularly aspect-based sentiment analysis. Document AI also sees improvement with a new version of the Arctic TILT model, bringing enhancing model multi-language support, better handling on language-specific diacritics, and overall higher quality. For the ML ops, Snowflake ML Jobs lets you run ML workflows locally directly against Snowflake computing, bridging your local development environment with Snowflake scales. Cortex search gets smarter too. You can now boost search results based on metadata signals like likes, comments, or recency. You can also disable the re-ranker if you find that it doesn't improve your search results, potentially speeding up queries. Let's touch on Snowsight, applications, and data lakes. In Snowsight, you can now configure and monitor replication directly within the UI. In this capability is in GA, makes managing replication much more accessible. For Snowflake applications, you can now configure automatic suspension for Snowpark container services, helping manage caused by pausing idle services. This is a new container runtime for ML on multi-node cluster, specific designs to scale ML workloads across multi-nodes within the Snowflake notebooks. For native app developers, session debugging is also in GA, allowing providers to inspect and interact with the app environment as it runs in a consumer account. Really valuable for troubleshooting. Release channels for Snowflake native apps are in GA, enable providers to manage different versions like dev, staging, prod for their apps more effectively. Moving to the data lake now, specifically Apache Iceberg tables, a much requested feature, row level deletes externally managed Iceberg table is now in preview. It adds crucial mutation capability. For Iceberg tables using automated refresh, table names now appear in account usage view, making cost tracking a bit easier. Google Private Service Connect support is now in preview for Streamlit, enabling secure connections within the GCP environment. A feature like ST query parameters in GA for Streamlit as well, providing a simple dictionary-like way to access URL query parameters within your Streamlit app, and support for the latest 1.42 version, also in GA. Now, let's move on to data pipelines, loading and unloading data, which got also some attention. Automated refresh, similar to the external table feature, is now in preview for directory tables on internal name stages. Only on AWS initially, this keeps your directory table synced automatically within files landing in internal stages. Writing files directly to Snowpark Python UDF and UDDFs is in GA. It opens possibilities for generating output files within the Snowpark logic. Internal stage cloning is now fully supported as well. Moving on to the security and privacy governance, which remain very important to Snowflake. The Trust Center gets email notifications. You can now configure alerts for specific violation severities and scanner types, enable more proactive governance. We now have role-based access control for Cortex LLM models. These provide fine-graining control over which roles can access what specific language models. Synthetic data generation is also in GA, and this is super powerful, allowing you to create realistic but anonymized data based on your source data, perfect for testing, development, or sharing without exposing your sensitive data. And for authentication, new methods for multi-factor MFAs, including support for passkeys, offering more modern convenience security options. Sensitive data classification expands to reach new classifier for people in India, like covering the PAM, the Aadhaar voter ID, driver license, and GST-in. Sorry, India, if I misspell any of those. Finally, let's quickly cover data clean rooms. There's a flurry of updates here focused on flexibility and integration. Column policies are now optional for providers run analysis via the API. There's a new Google Ads activation connector, but it requires explicit affirmation of data subject consent. More procedures are supported in granting clean room run privileges. Clean rooms also now support Snowpark container services, allowing more complex logic within the secure environment. Also, consumer template requests now support cross-cloud auto-fulfillment, and providers can now specify the warehouse size to provide their run analysis via API. Phew, that was a lot to cover today. The key takeaways for me are the continued push into AI with multi-model capabilities in Cortex and better observability, the practical improvements like egress optimizer and structure outputs, and the crucial addition to synthetic data generation and ongoing refiners across the board from core SQL to Snowpark and security. Snowflake is not resting on the laurels. Remember, many of these features are still in preview, so test them out, provide feedback, but plan accordingly for your production use. And if for the GA features, start exploring how they can benefit your workflows today. That was all for the Snowflake Unofficial News Podcast. For detailed documentation for these features, be sure to check the official release notes on my blog post, blog.augustorosa.com. If you need help understanding how these capabilities can impact your data strategy or want assistance in implementing them, feel free to reach us at Archetype Consulting. Thank you for tuning into the official news podcast. I'm your host, Augusto Rosa. Keep building, keep innovating, and I'll catch you on the next update.